Hi, everybody. Hello, Literati Beach and Beyond group. Very special day today. Normally, I'm on the other side of this equation. I'm the one asking the questions. I'm the one sort of directing the discussion. But today, because I'm the book, the Hotel Nantucket is the book, I have my work husband and one of my very best friends in the whole world, Tim Ehrenberg of Tim Talks Books, doing the interview. Thank you, Tim, for
Oh my
agreeing.
gosh, of course. I felt so honored to be asked. Well, hello to everyone at Literati. So happy to be here. The reviews are in, and it's a #1 hit on pretty much every bestseller list. If you follow Ellen on social media, you have seen the epic book tour. She just got back on Saturday, right? You just got back on Saturday?
Yep.
I haven't seen lines like that in a long time. I mean, was it insane?
It was insane. So it was up about from, let's say, from 2019, which would be the last year that we could really sort of judge. From 2019, it was up about 35%. So I was seeing 300 and 400 women a night/day, and I did 16 events in 13 days. So I was tired at the end. It was weary, just like, okay, I'm not going to use the term burnt out because I wasn't burnt out, but it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, there is nothing quite like an Elin Hilderbrand reader fan.
That
I
is
get to see them. I get to see them every summer,
true.
and they're the best readers in the
Yeah.
business. They really are.
So enthusiastic, so devoted. So they just, and of course, everybody you're watching is like a devoted person. I cannot tell you, it is so different from other readers. I hear it from every bookseller, readers of other books. You guys are the best, the most amazing. And I'm so great. I'm so humbled, first of all, so humbled by it. I still, I did an event for like 400 people in Pittsburgh, and it was a full theater. And then there was like a secondary theater, and I went over, and I still sort of get choked up because I'm like, I can't believe these people are here to see me. Like, why? I'm just doing my job, which is write books. And the fact that, people would gather and show up, it still very deeply touches my heart.
Well, let's get right to it because I have so many questions that I want to talk to you about this book. It's your 28th novel.
Yes.
And I always like to watch the reviews coming in and saying what people are saying. And I think the #1 thing they're saying is this is a vast cast of characters. There are so many people in this book.
Yes.
And as readers, they said, I had to start kind of like writing things down. But now for the writer, as for you, how did you juggle that many people and what they were doing at the hotel and when they were coming in? I mean, that had to have been a chore in the beginning.
It was. I restarted this book 6 times. I could not get it off the ground. I've told you this privately. I wanted to retire with Golden Girl. My publisher felt differently. They really, really wanted me to take another contract. I sort of thought, okay, am I actually ready? Could I do another 2 books? So I went back and forth with my publisher wanted 4 books. I wanted to do 2 more books. We agreed on doing 3 more books. And of which the Hotel Nantucket is the first. So I couldn't get it off the ground. I knew I wanted to like create a universe, a place, a hotel that people wanted to stay at, that people wanted to check into. I knew it had to have tons of drama. I knew the drama had to come from both the people staying there and the people working there. So I knew all that. What I didn't know is who would be working there and what their problems would be. And I didn't know any of that and what the hotel would look like. So I had to do all of that thinking and that organizing. And there was a point at which I thought, do I have too many points of view? Do I have too many characters? I just did. I thought I can't do it with any less.
Yes.
I can't do it with any
all of them. They all added such an element to the story. And if you didn't have one, something I think would have been missing.
Yeah. And realistically, like the hotel, the hotel could never run with only those people working.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, I'm just scaling it back for the sake of the narrative. Lisbeth came to me like in the 3rd or 4th draft. Grace came to me, and I didn't have a ghost initially. I did have Shelley Carpenter from the very beginning. And so like it all came together, but it was a process.
And one of the joys of my life and job is that I'm privy to all these things kind of happening when you're writing the book the year before when we're signing for the year. So
Right.
you came in and you said one of the most important things for you with this book and this cast of characters was diversity and inclusion. And you
Yes.
nailed that. And how, like, why was that so important to you? And
It
this
was so
time in your
important to
career?
me. I mean, we're living in the 20s. Which sounds funny. We are living in the 20s. I have written novels about hotels before. I wrote The Beach Club, which was my first novel. That I believe has one Black character. And then I wrote about the Winter Street Inn. My Winter Street series, when I go back and look at it now, like from a distance of 10 years, I'm like, it is so not diverse nor inclusive, and it's disappointing. And so I really thought I want to write a book of the moment that is diverse and inclusive, where everybody feels like they're a part of this world. And so I just set out to have gay characters, to have lesbian characters, to have Black characters, to have mixed race, to have just the whole spectrum and gamut, so that, young, old, different generations. I love my Generation Z. My kids are Generation Z. They taught me. So it's so funny when Zeke is sort of teaching his aunt Magda about like the things that he's looking at on Instagram, those are the things that my kids look at. So it was fun doing that kind of research.
I mean, it's so diverse. You mentioned her, but there is even a ghost, a chambermaid from 1922,
Right.
who probably was my favorite character and element of the story, because she was just able to, without her, to have that insight into what everything was going on. How much fun was it to write her?
Well, you know me, Tim. I did an angel. I did Vivi from the last book. And I did not want to do it again because I thought I just did that last book. But Vivi was sort of up above looking down in the heavens, whereas Grace is very much tethered to the earth and sort of wants to get out of there. But I don't really do ghost things, and I didn't really want to do it, but I needed an omniscient narrator. And I also thought to myself, this is an old crumbling down hotel, in a place that historically has been said to have ghosts. Of course there's a ghost. And then I set about to make her super sassy, super modern, with sort of a goal of her own, which was for people to know that she had been murdered. She wanted justice. But she was really of the moment because she'd been watching people for 100 years and had sort of grown with everybody else.
But you do mention it, but there is some magical realism in some other of your books. Like The Matchmaker has that magic type of. So do you believe in magic, ghosts, afterlife, all those things? Is that, maybe it's too personal, but do you believe in all of them?
It's so funny because on tour, someone said, "What is your relationship with the supernatural?" And I said, "Oh, my relationship with the supernatural is the same as everybody else's, which is just that, do I believe in a higher power? Yes, I do. Do I believe there's stuff that we don't understand going on? Yes, I do. Do I believe in like the Golden Girl situation, like where when people who we love die, that they're still sort of around us? Yes, I do. Do I know any more than that? Not really. No.
Yeah. So there are so many twists and mysteries. I love a whodunit. It's like one of my favorite. Perfect Couple is one of my favorite books of yours. This one is so different because it's not necessarily a murder, but there's all these things going on. And I don't want to have any spoilers for anyone who hasn't finished reading it, but I think the best, and what all the readers that wrote in, Shelley Carpenter is their favorite mystery in this one. Right. So I have to know, did you always know? I'm not going to say who it is, but did you always know who it was going to be?
No. I didn't. And it came to me at some point during the writing, which is a real lesson. I just want to say that you don't have to know everything when you start. It evolves. And great example of The Perfect Couple. When I started writing The Perfect Couple, which was a murder mystery, which I had never written a murder mystery before, I thought somebody else did it. I was writing the book and I'm like, okay, well, this is the person that did it. And then as I was about 2/3 of the way through, and I'm like, oh no, it wasn't that person. It was this person. You always want to take it a twist further than you think. And so I didn't know who Shelley Carpenter was or how she would appear. And then it just sort of presented itself at some point during the writing.
Yeah. Well, I loved that twist. So if anyone hasn't read it yet, it's a good one. This was a fun audience question too, because it was so prevalent to what we did at Nantucket Book Partners. They said there's so many names. Since it's such a large cast, how did you name all of these people? And what some people might not know is we had that golden ticket winner drawing that people from Golden Girl won golden tickets to get their name as a character. So it was
Right.
so fun to see those people's names in this book. But
Right.
how do you choose names?
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of novels and they're all really populated. So I have to use names that I haven't used before, which is super challenging. Um, and I will sort of collect names in my phone for the next book. And I see 10,000 women a year in my travels. And so some of the names I get from them, I don't I like to use names that are memorable. I like to use names that are different, start with a different first letter than everybody else. Magda sort of came to me. Zeke came to me. Edie, Alessandro definitely sort of came to me. Lisbeth, I had in my phone. I had written it down. I wanted to use that name. And Chad named himself because of course, who he was. So I mean, I do keep a running list, and that's another reason why I'm going to retire, because I am officially running out of names. One fun thing that happened this past year is my son graduated from the University of South Carolina. And when I got to the graduation, there was a program, and I opened the program, and all I could think is, I am taking this home with me. It had 4,000 kids' names in it. And I'm like, I am using this from here on out to name my characters.
That's amazing. So my favorite part of this whole book is the blue book in the back.
Yeah.
Which is your recommendation guide to Nantucket. How much fun was that to write? And it's what I always say is the two best things about an Elin Hilderbrand book is, one, the characters are so specific, they seem like they are your best friends. And two, you really are there in Nantucket. So to have this guidebook is the best thing that readers have been begging for years. So how much fun was that to finally give to your readers?
It was so much fun. And it was self-preservation, because my social media is chock full of requests. I'm coming to Nantucket. What do I do? Where do I go? Where do I eat? Where do I stay? And so I thought to myself, okay, I sort of tabled, I would answer people when I could. There was an article in the Boston Globe in 2018 that sort of gave my recommendations, but it was like an article. It was tiny. When I wrote the Hotel Nantucket, I thought, Lisbeth's going to do a blue book and hand it out to her guests as one of the things that she is personally vested in the success of the hotel. She's written this blue book so that when you check in, these are the hotel's recommendations. And then at some point, I thought to myself, I should do that. I should write a blue book. And I turned in the novel to my editor. It was all revised. And I said to my editor, I'm going to write a blue book guide. And she said, I don't think you need to do that. And I'm like, just trust me. Just trust me. And sure enough, my publisher is like, this is the greatest thing ever. This is so great. And it's self-preservation, because now I can say to people, everything you need to know about Nantucket is now written down in one place. And it's very comprehensive.
Yeah. So many of our friends and everything messaging me, like, so excited that they're in a #1 New York Times bestselling book.
Yeah.
All the businesses that, you enjoy. I also love when you write little things like these. In this story, this is where they go to here, which is so great.
Right. I didn't do like a complete catalog of like, these are the novels where this thing appears, because that would take forever. But I do have enough of a memory that like there are certain, how I wish I could think of a good example, but like the Club Car Piano Bar, like I know they go there in Silver Girl, and I know they go there in The Perfect Couple, or I don't even know if that's true, because I can't remember. But I remember. I know they go there. I know they go there in Golden Girl, and in Silver Girl, and so it's fun for me to be able, like the Oyster Catcher, which is in Golden Girl, is actually the sandbar, and I think it's a must visit when you're on Nantucket. So I say things like that in the blue book.
It was just curated in such a way of like you were having a conversation with someone. And so I love that it wasn't everyone you did that with. It was what entered your memory when you thought of that place, which I think is special about it. Okay, so you've been gone for 2 weeks, and we've been so excited for you to get back so that you can enjoy your summer. So what are the 3 things in that blue book that Elin Hilderbrand is excited to have now that summer has begun?
So many things. But some of my top things from the blue book, the sandbar, I feel like if you come to Nantucket, for the day, you're dropped off downtown. So you can easily walk around and do your shopping. And you should definitely go to Mitchell's Book Corner, home of Tim and Ellen, essentially, and Nantucket Bookworks. There are two fantastic independent bookstores. But the Sandbar is a healthy walk, not like a far walk, but like a good walk where you feel like you got something done, and you get to the Sandbar and it's in the sand, and the food is relatively inexpensive for Nantucket. It's casual. There are Adirondack chairs in the sand. There are picnic tables. It's on the beach, so you can feel like you sort of went to like a beach bar. A lot of times there's live music. I love it there. So that's one of my favorite things to do when I'm on Nantucket, which I will be all summer. I'm so happy. And another thing, obviously, the beach, Steps Beach. I don't tell anybody where I go to the beach because I decided that was the one thing I was going to keep private so that I didn't.
I don't even know. I think that's like the one thing I don't know about you. You keep it very close.
I do not tell anybody. But obviously, if you have more than one day, you want to go to a variety of beaches, and I lay them all out. I lay them all out that way. And then, of course, let's just say the Chicken Box. So the Chicken Box is a dive bar. My son was there last night. But it does run the gamut. Any age group can go to the Chicken Box. The guys that own the Chicken Box are my age. I'm 52. They might even be a little bit older than I am. And they have great live music. Rocky Fox, who is one of the three owners of the Chicken Box, he calls almost every single day with an Elin Hilderbrand reader who has gone on a pilgrimage to the Chicken Box, and he likes me to FaceTime those readers. There used to be that I could just roll down to the Chicken Box and meet them in person. I can no longer do that. The requests are just too much, and I'm trying to write a novel. But I will often FaceTime with the people at the Chicken Box, and it's fun to see in person.
Yes. Well, or you have every Wednesday at 11, we call it Ellen at 11. She's at Mitchell's Book Corner throughout the summer. So yes. That is how, if you really would like to meet her, that's the time that she's there.
That's right. That was our solution. Yes, that was our solution to people saying, how do I meet Elin Hilderbrand? Every Wednesday this summer at 11, I will be at the bookstore doing a signing. You'll see the line. It's crazy town. But and
super fun.
I was going to the bookstore all the time to meet readers, and then it just became so crazy that I said, you know what, let's just do one set.
Because I was texting you pretty much every hour, being like, oh, are you still in town? Come back. And you're like, Tim, I have to write a novel. Right. You and I talk books a lot, and I want to know, you could tell your readers like the 3 rules from the Elin Hilderbrand School of Writing. Like, what are your 3 rules that you would say like that make an amazing Elin Hilderbrand novel?
Well, first of all, drama is content. So when I get criticism, a lot of times people will be like, why is there so much adultery? Why are people doing bad things? Okay, this is why. Without that, you will fall asleep. We need to have drama. There has to be drama. There has to be betrayal. Happy marriages do not make good novels. You will not like it. It will put you to sleep. So I like to have a lot of scandal, drama, betrayal. The worse it is, the better the novel. Okay. Look at Alessandra does something very bad in this book, and it is so great. For a novel, it is just so great.
Yes.
That's one thing. 2 is specificity, what I call specificity. So one of the things I try to do is be extremely specific with my details so that you can see, feel, hear, touch, and feel like you're experiencing Nantucket through the eyes of my characters. And it's that specificity, I think, that, makes an elevated beach read. Like it's the writing. Like you want it to be very specific. And I don't always get it right the first time. I'm constantly going back in and being like, how can I make this more visceral, more appealing? It's constant rewriting. And then the third element, I think, is sense of place. And that is the magic that is Nantucket. So there is no other place in the world that is like Nantucket. It is unique for so many reasons. and it's the combination of elements. It's the cobblestone downtown with the brick sidewalks and the whaling captains' homes and the flower boxes and the snapping flags and the hydrangea bushes, and it's the 50 miles of pristine beach that's open to the public, and it's the great collection of restaurants and of galleries. And what am I missing, Tim? I mean, it is the boating life and the yachts, and you look at the harbor, and it is just it's so aesthetically perfect.
Yeah. I don't know if many other people can stop what they're doing where they live and say, I'm so lucky to be here in this moment and like live here. And I say it daily.
Every day, because I roll down Main Street to get to my house. And every day going around the monument, I am like, it is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It is so beautiful.
How long have you been here again? How many years?
This is my 29th year, my 30th summer.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of summer, Endless Summer is next for you. It's out this fall. Can you tell readers what that kind of is? Because that was even a surprise for me that you were going to have a full fall book this year.
Yes. So Endless Summer comes out October 4th. This is what is included in Endless Summer. It is 9 short pieces. Some of the short pieces are e-shorts that have been released on Kindle. Some of the short pieces are bonus content that initially went to very specific retailers. So for example, there's an extra chapter that goes with my novel, The Identicals, that was only in a Barnes & Noble hardcover edition and never seen again. So now that extra chapter to The Identicals is going into Endless Summer. There was an extra chapter to The Rumor that only went to Target and was only in the Target hardcover edition. Now that short story that goes with The Rumor is going to be in Endless Summer. I have 3 things in Endless Summer that have never been seen before. One is an extra chapter to Golden Girl. One is an extra chapter to The Perfect Couple. And one is a long story, a novella. It's 75,000 words. So it's about a quarter of a novel called Summer of 89, which follows Summer of 69, Summer of 79. And then this is now Summer of 89, which follows the same family into the 1980s, the greatest decade of the 20th century, and has all the great 80s Jane Fonda. I mean, it is so fabulous. And all of the chapter headings in that novella are, of course, song titles. It's In Excess. It's so fun. And if you loved Summer of 69, Summer of 79, you will love Summer of 89.
This book is going to be so special for readers because a lot of the ones that I'm looking in here that wrote, it's all about, I need these characters in my life. Is there going to be a sequel? I need to see them again. And this book is basically like re-meeting all those friends from all the other novels in different ways. And so I think it's going to be super special.
The one thing I have said, this is not the book you start with if you're reading Elin Hilderbrand. This is a book for people who've read everything. If you've read everything, this is for you because it's got all the extra, and it's really my last 7, 8, 9, 10 novels that it's focused on. So, but you will.
So now we have 2 books left before the final summer Elin Hilderbrand novel in 2024. Will you revisit anyone from Hotel Nantucket in these last 2 books? Because that's every question is, they said there are questions at the end of what's going to happen with Richie and other things. So do you see these characters again in the last 2 books?
It's so funny because I may come back. I thought about having a scene set at the Blue Bar in the book I'm writing now. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. But I might change my mind. I might change my mind back. I thought, I should do the Blue Bar. Hold, because I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. But it did occur to me.
We won't quote you on it.
The Cobblestone Telegraph is definitely coming back in the very last book, which I believe is going to be some kind of mystery thriller, I think. And the Cobblestone Telegraph will definitely be weighing in. So that will be back in my very last book. I have not announced this yet, but I'll tell you guys, the Hotel Nantucket has been optioned by Warner Brothers Television, and they are developing it into an ongoing series. So one of the things, that might happen when something's optioned, it could completely go up in smoke, right? But the people at Warner Brothers are very, very, very excited about it. So fingers crossed, it would be so great for an ongoing series. So these characters would come to life and then we could take them beyond the scope of the novel.
Yeah. I mean, a hotel like that, I think, makes for such a great TV show.
Yes.
So I'm hoping, but there's so many things floating around in Hollywood right now, isn't there?
So many things. So yeah, so I have 6 projects in development. One is, I mean, just all I can say is follow me on Instagram, because the second I can announce what's happening in Hollywood, you will see it there first. Hopefully this summer we'll have some definitive news.
I hope so. I hope so. Let's talk a little bit more about Literati and like what this group has meant to you over. How long have you been doing it now?
So this marks my year.
Okay.
I started last June, and it's been an adventure. I want to say something. I've really learned about my own reading taste, I guess, and how maybe it doesn't align up with what people think. So I very intentionally entitled my book group The Beach and Beyond. And I think that the people who joined really wanted the beach, and I really wanted the beyond, because I read literary fiction. I went to Iowa. I'm a very serious reader. You know, my favorite book this year was Notes on an Execution. Okay. So that is like not my brand.
Yeah.
Even saying that out loud, it's like, but that was my favorite novel. And so one of the challenges of having the Beach and Beyond book group is I want to make sure that I'm picking novels that like my readers who are more beachy readers than I am want to read.
Yeah.
So it's a constant struggle. My July book, which is going to be announced, well, where are we today? We're the 28th. Okay, so in 2 days, is A Shoe Story by Jane Rosen. Really beachy, really rom-com-y, and really, really good and really well written. So I feel really happy about that. And then my August book is, I can't say, but because it has not been revealed. But it's always a struggle for me to pick books that are really well written that I have loved, but that also sort of fit into the Beach and Beyond. And I know I have become well aware in the last year that my readers really want me more towards the beach. And so I always have to sort of walk the line and become balanced. But it has been the great privilege to bring other people's books, spotlight books that maybe wouldn't get noticed, through my Literati book group.
And I feel like you're pushing your readers too, to like, give this a chance. I loved it for this reason. They get to talk with you about it, hear you talk about it. So I've loved all your picks. They're great.
Thank you.
What would you say is the best book for a book club discussion?
Like ever, or of mine?
Maybe ever.
What is the answer to that? What is the answer to that? Okay, well, I'll just say one of my favorite books that I'm not going to pick for Literati because people will really kill me is Hamnet. So Hamnet was my favorite book of 2020, which was the year of the the bad year of the pandemic, as we all know. And Hamnet is about a historical novel about Shakespeare's son set during the bubonic plague. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't like Shakespeare particularly. I don't really like historical fiction. I don't read a lot of it. And I certainly do not want to read about the bubonic plague because we're in the middle of a pandemic. And despite all those things, I found this book absolutely gripping. I'm going to say it was your suggestion. You said, you put it in my hands and said, you must read this. You must read this. And it was my favorite book of 2020. And I feel like it would be such a fascinating book group to talk about it, especially in light of what we have all just been through.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the book is beautiful. And it's a perfect example of what you're meaning about the writing, because every sentence was just really, really beautifully written.
Oh, so perfect.
What's your most anticipated book of this year? Like, not out yet.
So Danny Shapiro, two. Danny Shapiro's novel Signal Fires, which I actually have read. So good. She's normally known for her memoirs. This novel was utterly beautiful. And then the second is The Celeste Ng. You've read it. I haven't. It's on my pile.
Very timely.
Can't
amazing.
Wait.
Well, I'm just so proud of you, number one. When that came out, for the last how many years now do I shed a little tear on that Wednesday when you send me that text message? You should just I want everyone out there to realize she is the hardest working writer I know and out there. She puts everything, not that other readers don't, believe me, I have a lot of other writers that I know and love, but you just are, your work ethic and what you put into these, and it's just something very humbling and inspirational, and you do it for your readers, and that's just something really special.
Thank you, love. Thank you for doing this with me.
Oh my
I
gosh,
love
it's my
you.
pleasure.
I'll see you tomorrow at 11.
Yeah, exactly.